Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of Empowered in Health. As always, I'm so glad you're here to join the conversation. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about one of the things that I've been doing personally inside my wellness journey that's really helped me change the game as far as my mental and emotional perspective around what progress really truly looks like and feels like on your health and wellness journey. So, I want to kind of share this perspective because I feel like this can be a profound change when it comes to your own goals. And one of the things that I've learned as a wellness coach and someone who's worked with a lot of different women in different capacities towards their fitness and nutrition goals, their lifestyle goals, their overall health goals is this concept of what do we actually utilize as tools to measure progress? So often in the women's health space, we hear the most about weight loss, right? We hear the most about maintaining a weight number, right? We hear most about what does the scale say? And, for me personally on my own wellness journey, the scale has always been something I've had a very interesting relationship with. It has not always served me well. And if I'm honest, it's been something that I've had to pull out of my regimen, so to speak, because it's just become this mental game that really wasn't necessary and wasn't worth it. And it's something that I struggled with much more in the past. But even in the past handful of years, I've just realized that most often the scale isn't something that I've needed to be inside my personal wellness journey because it hasn't really served the purpose of helping me feel motivated or empowered or encouraged to keep moving forward. Most of the time, it kind of did the opposite and made me feel defeated or put me into mental and emotional soundtracks that weren't actually serving me, right? Or put me into these negative headspaces that I was trying to essentially get rid of for a really long time in my life, right? So the scale is a very interesting topic for women, and it's very sensitive inside women's health. Some women, enjoy having it as a tool to measure progress, and some women don't. And I just want to be someone who normalizes that this is just a real thing, right? Which is why we have to always be speaking about wellness through the lens of how it's unique to you. And really, truly, it's about finding what feels good to you from the inside out. And that very much includes tools that you can utilize in order to measure progress. So I want to talk about one of the tools that I've personally been using that I shared about over on social media this week. And I got a lot of feedback and a lot of questions from you wanting to learn more, wanting to understand exactly what this tool is. And it is called the InBody Scan. Okay, so if you haven't ever heard of it, I'm going to link what you can find or read up more about it in the show notes of this podcast, but you can certainly just Google InBody Scan and see a little bit more about it. The InBody is something that I actually got introduced to through the nutrition therapy that I've been working through, right? So at the beginning of this year, I decided that I really wanted to get a better snapshot of my metabolic health, right? I had been doing a lot of things that I've known to help me in the past that I was hopeful would help me kind of reach my health and fitness goals. And for whatever reason, I've just really struggled to get to this place of feeling like I'm making forward progress and working towards my long-term longevity health goals. And so at the beginning of this year, I really dove in more on what do I want to do from a nutritional standpoint to learn more about my body. So I went to this nutrition therapy meeting, met with a registered dietitian. We talked about the macronutrients that I had been, focusing on and eating most over the past 6-ish months or so. We talked about some of the digestive struggles that I've still continued to have, right? Things like gas and bloating and unexplained food sensitivities. And we talked about how I've really struggled with body composition change, right? We talked about how over the past year-ish, I've gained 20 pounds. And, based on my actual habits and lifestyle that I focus in on most, a lot of the things that I felt like I was doing well weren't really adding up to the goals that I had set out for myself. So I've had to, uncover a lot of my personal habits and get really honest about what am I doing and where do I need to continue to evolve and improve and where do I need to get honest and where do I need to keep learning more. Nutrition has always been the thing that's been the most challenging for me, right? I've always had to learn more about nutrition, dive into nutrition a little bit harder, tweak things a little bit more intentionally, and just be mindful and really get into this headspace of understanding that nutrition at its core is about fueling your body for energy and utilizing the nutrients and the choices that you're making in a way that helps your body and your brain feel good from the inside out. And so it's been this really interesting exploration and discovery process for me, really getting into this headspace of understanding that when it comes to my nutritional choices. And that's one of the reasons I went on to get my nutrition coaching certification through Precision Nutrition last year, because I wanted to be able to put way more science behind the understanding that I was gathering related to my own body and what nutritional choices felt good. But I also wanted to really help other women understand nutrition on a deep level and why, getting a great understanding of all of the different resources inside our nutritional habits can either be great for our body and our brain or can make life feel a little bit harder. And, one of the things that I've learned inside this nutrition counseling therapy that I've done is this idea of how do we really truly measure progress, right? So we talked about the scale and how that's oftentimes used inside women's health and inside health goals, right? But what we haven't talked about yet is the InBody Scan, which I'm going to talk about in a second. We haven't talked about waist to hip ratio either, right? And these are other tools and tips and tricks that I want to speak about because I want women to understand that there are so many important ways that we can assess how our progress is going, right? Far beyond what a scale number says. And I know this is kind of like an old school train of thought, right? I know for me, with clients that I've worked with up until this point, what has happened and what can typically happen as a measure of quote unquote progress is women will go and weigh themselves on the scale in their bathroom. Then they'll go to Google and they'll Google BMI or the body mass index, and they'll put in their height and they'll put in their weight and they'll see where their BMI lands. And most often BMI is way out of balance, right? So the BMI is a very outdated strategy as far as really getting a good understanding of what your health is at, right? Like where your body is truly at, where your metabolic health is at, and really getting a good grasp of where you are wellness wise. And so this is such an outdated, old school kind of one thought track kind of way to think of progress that I want to be speaking about. What are the other ways that you can measure how you're moving towards your goals, right? The waist to hip ratio is a really powerful way to kind of measure what's happening even metabolically with your body, right? What's going on with your body composition. Make sure you look that up. I'll put in the resources in the show notes too of how you can actually look up what waist or hip to waist or waist to hip ratio is and how you can actually implement that as an option for measuring progress. Obviously, progress photos can be helpful. Obviously, measurements can be helpful. Measuring your energy, right? That is one of the biggest ones that I use, right? How is my energy throughout the day? Am I, making it through the afternoon slump in a way that feels good? How's my sleep and how is that affecting my overall mood? Like energy is a huge one for me as far as progress. And then this other tool that I've recently started to utilize is called the InBody Scan. So again, look in the show notes here to kind of get to the link where you can research more. You can also Google it. But the InBody Scan is a really unique tool where you stand on this device and it uses like electromagnetic waves to essentially break down and give you a report on your deep body composition, right? So it measures water weight, both extracellular and intracellular, right? So like the water inside your cells versus the water outside your cells. Then it also measures your lean muscle mass, right? Your actual body mass. And then it measures fat mass along with visceral fat, right? So it's really giving you an actual picture and a deep dive on what does your body composition truly look like, right? Because here's the thing that I kind of personally realized. My story right now includes a 20-pound weight gain. And if I'm honest, I still am trying to uncover exactly why that is. I have the lens as far as wellness goes on understanding the things that I theoretically should focus on in order to meet goals like losing weight, building muscle, getting better at nutritional skills, etc. I know the importance of making sure that I'm moving my body, getting adequate sleep, really paying attention to my nutritional habits and how I'm fueling for energy, along with understanding deficiencies I might have, right? So I've been working with practitioners on nutrient deficiencies, vitamin and mineral deficiencies, really understanding hormonal fluctuations and deficiencies there too, right? How important that has been in understanding my body and my body comp changes. I've also had to dive deeper on gut health. I went through a full gut protocol last year where I had to really uncover what kind of gut health and imbalances did I have inside my gut. Because at the end of the day, the gut is the second brain. And so much of our effort related to health is determined by how great our gut is functioning. Okay. So the reason I want to talk about something like the InBody Scan is because I really believe in the power of equipping women with tools that are actually going to empower you on your health and wellness journey. And if I'm honest, the scale ain't it. Like the scale isn't the way. It's not going to be the thing that really truly will empower you when it comes to long-term longevity health. Like there's so much power in having data and knowledge on your unique body, right? Through unique testing, through things like the InBody Scan, through understanding what the waist hip ratio really means and how that can be an indicator of metabolic health and how your body composition, can continue to evolve over time, right? And kind of tracking that and looking more closely at that, paying attention to energy, paying attention to mood and sleep and how you feel throughout your cycles throughout the month. Like there's just so much more we can be paying attention to when it comes to progress. And I want to, again, give women this empowered lens to look through, because for way too long have we been fed the message of less is more and smaller is better and skinnier is the way, and try to get to the lowest number on the scale, right? Like that has been a very common message in women's health for far too long. And my goal, again, as a coach, is to not only give you empowered knowledge, but to also empower you to chase strong like you never have before. And that means also strong in the sense of getting really well equipped, right? And knowledgeable when it comes to the tools and the resources that are really going to serve you best when it comes to reaching your health and wellness goals. So for me, again, my personal story has been going into nutritional therapy and working more with a registered dietitian on my own personal health goals, so I can really get a better picture of what macronutrient breakdown serves me best, what helps me the most with energy, what essentially is going to help me a little bit more with body composition change. And above all, where is my body composition truly at, right? Because when you lose pounds on the scale and the scale weight is fluctuating up and down, it doesn't give you any indication of what that weight loss or gain really is. Is it water weight? Is it fat mass? Is it muscle mass? Is it, it doesn't give you those details. So again, having this empowered knowledge through something like an InBody scan or even a DexaScan, which I'll share that information in the show notes too, can be a totally different experience. And my goal, along with, again, all of this empowered knowledge, is to help you shift your mindset, right? To protect your mental health in this game of wellness overall. It's no secret that the wellness space and women's health has a lot of mind games inside of it, right? As I just shared, for so long, the narratives have been about smaller and less and skinnier and low numbers and whatever, right? And in the end, that's never going to be a message that serves us, that serves our daughters and our kids, that serves future generations. And so I want to continue to be a person in this space that speaks about all of these incredible, powerful tools that can just essentially change the lens we're looking through. And when we change that lens, it gives us this different perspective and this different understanding of how I'm going to work towards my wellness goals, right? And in a way that feels like I have the equipped knowledge that I need, right? Like I have the information and the data to understand my unique body. So then I can craft up exact habits and exact strategies in order to best serve where I'm going. So it's this sense of just feeling empowered. I know I say empowered a lot, and this whole podcast is called Empowered in Health, but that is really the name of the game. And the goal is feeling empowered in your health journey, not defeated, not let down, not, disappointed all the time. And so much of that energy can be the real deal inside women's health. And I'm just not about it. I will not be about it. And I don't want other women to be about it, because that will never serve you in the end. Okay, my friends. So if you are interested in the InBody or the DexaScan, again, go to the show notes of this podcast. You can look up everything on Google. And the cool thing is you can look up both options and they will show you resources in your area that maybe have one that you could set up an appointment with, right? Like you could go to either a gym facility, different doctors, practitioners, other kinds of places I'm sure have these options for you to essentially set up appointments, get these scans done, and get an analysis done, right? So like you can either find a practitioner that can do the analysis and breakdown with you, or these facilities I'm sure also have practitioners or people that are experts in understanding these kinds of data points and machines to help you really break down what's the information that you may get for your specific body from a machine or from a test like this. You know, I have learned very much so in the past 3-ish years, especially the past 18 months or so, the value of uniquely testing your body, right? There is nothing like having data on your unique body and your unique needs. Truly, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. Once you have the information about your unique deficiencies, about your unique body composition, about your unique habits and how those are playing a role in your overall health goals, that is how you finally make steps forward. That is how you finally drill down on, okay, what do I need to do in order to really make progress the way I deserve and the way I want to and the way I crave. It's from this personalized, individualized information data, because that will give you the path to focus on most. So as always, guys, thank you so much for taking the time to tune in. If you ever have questions, let me know. Don't forget to check out the show notes for all the data and the information on everything I shared today. Appreciate you so much. See you in the next one.